This program is brought to you by IG. Trade over 12,000 shares and ETFs, including major tech giants with extended hours on an award-winning platform. IG, where traders are made.
And our stock of the day is Santos. It is Australia's number one domestic gas supplier. And the news today, Saudi Aramco and Abu Dhabi National Oil Company have reportedly been separately considering bids for Santos. Santos and Saudi Aramco have not responded to requests for comments, while the ADNOC declined to comment also. Earlier this year, there were talks with Woodside for a merger, but those talks fell apart. At the time, Santos said it would continue to review options to unlock its value. So, given that news today, shares up about 5.5%. So let's get the view of our experts. Mark, so is this back on the table? What are your thoughts? Is it inevitable, perhaps, that it's going to be taken over?
I believe so. Look, it's certainly, the amount of interest that's been shown in it it obviously, probably presents value. They've got a lot of major projects and sort of underway at the moment. Barossa, Pika Phase 1, Moomba, they're, between sort of 50 to 85% complete. So there's obviously some execution risk there. But I can't see Saudi Aramco getting through the Foreign Investment Board. That seems to be the overwhelming consensus. But obviously Woodside's exploring that merger as well. I think, there's enough sort of people kicking the tyres to realise that it's probably relatively undervalued. And its PE around about 12, yields about 5. And look, I think they're pretty well placed. Once they get some of these operations up and running. I mean, they've got strong free cash flow as well. They've had some, they've had some production issues with severe weather and things. So I think it's probably about as bad as it's, as bad as it's generally going to be. Gearing's not out of control, and they've got a fairly strong balance sheet. So yeah, I would say this might rattle a few cages, in terms of potentially bringing some other bidders out of the woodwork, and people looking a little bit deeper into it. But yeah, I think it's probably just around about fair value, I suppose, at the moment.
So given that, if you're in it, do you hold on to it?
If you're in it, you're holding on to it.
Yep.
And particularly, it's been very range bound for at least a couple of years. So I think that probably breaks the 52-week high or thereabouts. So if we can get some upward momentum in the stock, you might start to see some technical buying as well. So I don't know whether I'd necessarily buy it today up here, because it's buying the break of the range has been a massive mistake in this stock. So if you've got it, hold on to it, and hopefully it does rattle some cages and bring out some other interest.
Indeed, Daniel.
Yeah, not too surprising, the news, Andrew, given I believe a lot of institutional shareholders have been calling for some form of either breakup or spin out or transformation in Santos for a while now, given that it has traded at a discount, particularly, given that it has a really large and high quality exposure to obviously LNG and export terminals, and the main one being the PNG LNG project. So I know L1 Capital has been increasing their position, and they've been a pretty loud spokesman for potentially separating, an upstream business and an export business. And the Saudis have obviously expressed their interest in that side of the market. They're not necessarily looking for more upstream or crude oil production. They're looking for gas. They're looking for export terminals. So it kind of makes sense. But, obviously the key question, like Mark mentioned, is what will the FIRB approval look like? So, I mean, a lot of their production is actually contracted already. So I wonder if that will play a role in the process for arbitration. But look, similar views. I actually quite like energy. I think it's been oversold a little bit too harshly. Once again, it's really a supply story. A lack of supply, lack of investment should benefit the incumbent producers. So I'd be a hold on Santos as well, but certainly think there's a bit of a buying opportunity in Woodside at the moment as well.
There you go. Our stock of the day, Santos. It is a double hold. Hold on, particularly with the likelihood perhaps that some more bidders are on the way.
This program was brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. Trade over 17,000 markets with extended hours on key US shares and competitive spreads. All on an award-winning platform. IG, where traders are made.